And gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to look at the IS-8. Yes, the IS-8 got buffed recently, and it's actually got a really good buff. Now, there was a few things that have changed with the IS-8. One thing in particular, which we're going to talk about, and we're going to have a look at the tank, is it's this reload. It got almost 1 second off its reload, and that I never used to like the IS-8. I mean, because of the armor profile, I don't think works very well compared to things like the IS-3 and Tier 8 against Tier 7s and the IS-7. The armor profile didn't really work. It's you couldn't really get bounces with the IS-8, but now with the reload, it's more a medium than it is a heavy now. Honestly, that's what I think. Having played it, that's how I see the tank, and that's how I feel with the tank. So it still has a nice turret. Of course, there are weak points of the turret, and you've got 230 standard armor. Millimeters of armor and 120 on the hull. So 120 on the hull, it is a pike nose as well. People will be able to penetrate you. Now, the IS-8, I've said it for years that it is one of the most annoying tanks in the game when it comes to the armor profile. I'm not talking about frontal armor. I'm talking about side. The side armor is very troll. And you'll get bounces, just the same as really the IS-7, but you'll get bounces when you don't even want bounces. You're not even trying to get bounces, and you will get bounces. But equally, it is as annoying when you're shooting an IS-8 and you bounce, and you're like, seriously? It's very annoying. But yeah, it's not bad. The armor doesn't work frontally, but everything else really does work with the tank. So you've got 2,797 DPM, which I think is more than enough. And your reload now is just 9 seconds. 9 seconds for your reload. Your penetration is 258 on your AP and 340 on your heat. Now, you can run this with calibrated shells if you really wanted to, because it is heat. You could actually get that pen up massively. Well, you could get the pen up to 374, but honestly, I don't think you need that pen. I don't think you need that pen. Now, that is totally up to you. You can run it with calibrated shells. You lose a little bit of DPM, or you can just run it with the rammer. I run it with the rammer because 340 I think is enough, and 258 I think is enough to get through most things. So I don't think you need to run it with calibrated shells. But again, that's my personal opinion. You might prefer the pen over the DPM, but that's just my opinion. So you've got 68 on your HE as well. Now, the average damage, you've got a 420 alpha gun on your AP, 360 on your heat, and 500 on your HE. Aim time 4.1. Again, standard heavy really. Dispersion 0.326, and you do have only 5 degrees of gun depression, so you don't really have too much gun depression to play around with. However, the speed on this thing is 45 kilometers per hour, which is very nice. So if you start playing this like a heavy, unless you're hold down, you're not going to bounce too much, because again, as I've said, your frontal armor isn't the greatest, and you will pretty much get penetrated even from those Tier 8 tanks. So we're going to have a game which I literally not long played a couple of hours ago, and we're going to watch a replay from MJ, a good friend of mine who is in a platoon with his Royal Fatness. And of course, when you've got MJ, one of the best players on NA, along with Fatness, also one of the best players, not just on NA, but the entire game, hopefully it will be a good replay. And they're both doubling the IS-8, so they're doubling up on the IS-8s. So this poor T-54, he would have pretty much alone with the 120, so I knew as a medium, I even as a heavy, I got there just basically the same time as them, and I'm a heavy tank, and you can see the T-54, he couldn't even run away, and we get a nice high roll there, 525 on the 120. So we are going to go and watch what I'm going to say here in a minute. Well, no, actually, it's already happened, sorry. We managed to actually get a bounce, not there, but we did get a bounce from the Conway behind. Now, we have been set on fire, unfortunately, so we have actually lost quite a bit of hit points thanks to that Conway. But now I know it's a 6 versus 5. And I know at the moment the Conway is over here on his own, because if you look at the mini-map, all 4 heavies are in the middle. So I know this guy's on his own. So if I can get a shot off and maybe even get a troll bounce, or if someone's helping me just like they are here, then I should be able to take care of this Conway. But at the moment, the enemy now have cap B. They already have cap A. So we need to be quick because the enemy points are starting to go up. So I need to take care of this guy. He does get a troll bounce. I hate the turret of the Conway. It really does annoy me because I can just never freaking penetrate it apart from that shot there. So now he does miss his shot. I know I have him on a reload, so I do start pushing him for my first kill. So we are now on 3.2k damage. It's a 5 versus 4. There are a couple of low hit point tanks. The shark here, I know that I can take care of, and even though I say that the armor don't work, I've still managed to block 1200 damage, so that's still pretty decent, even though the armor isn't fantastic. And a lot of that is troll bounces, and that is mostly what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get those bounces where you're going to get troll bounces, and that's pretty much all you're going to get. Now, I don't know why I took so long in taking that shot against the EXP there, but again, now I've got the reload. I will have this guy even on my reload. I'm a tier 9, he's a tier 8. I do have him on the reload. My reload is quicker than his. So just one tank left, which is the IS-3, and we are going to get the kill for my 4th kill. So 1200 damage. I thought was pretty, block damage, sorry, I thought was pretty good. And we end up on 4,800 damage. And a nice ace. It was a nice ace. It was quite easy, if I'm honest, to get that ace. So moving on, as I've said, we're going to watch, so we've had that, we're going to watch MJ55 and his Royal Fatness doubling up on these IS-8s. Now, they are up against tier 10s. Now, that's one thing I look at when I play tier 9 is how good are they? Because most tier, let's just fast forward this a little bit. Most tier 9s actually play okay against tier 10s. And tier 8s, there are a lot of tier 8s that don't play that well against tier 9s. And that is the thing with the IS-8. The IS-8 plays absolutely fine against those tier 10 tanks. Obviously, it doesn't play as well as the IS-7. It doesn't quite have the armor profile, but it does have the speed and it does have that DPM. And you're going to watch, just look at them just sitting together. They're pretty much the only, there's one other tank around here, and they're going to fight. They've managed to flank. They managed to flank all around into the enemy spawn in 2 heavies. They're focus firing. The Jagdpanzer E100 has now gone because they have focused him. And as long as they continue to focus fire, and you can see that. Now, the best thing is these guys don't even need to be on voice together. They don't even need to be on voice together to get the damage done and to do what they're doing. They just watch each other, and that's the best thing with pros like this. There are some people that will work with you, and there's a couple of people who I platoon with, like Fizzy, for example. Sometimes I don't need to be on voice with this Fizzy. He knows what I'm going to do, I know what he's going to do, and we just gel together. And MJ and Fatness here, Fatness is in his press account. Obviously, he's named it Fake Fatness, but that is actually his Raw Fatness. So, yeah, 2,000 damage done at the moment. Now, they are pretty much losing. They're losing on the caps. The enemy have 2 caps, and now it is a 5 versus 5. So, of course, they do need to push on a little bit. They need to play a bit more aggressive, because if they don't, then they are the time's not on their side. They still have 4 minutes, so they've got plenty of time in that sense, but they just don't have the supremacy points, so they need to start clearing some of these tanks. But it is a 4 versus 4, but again, they've cleared all this side, and now both of them can push forward to rush this Minotaur, who doesn't have the DPM. But I love it. Again, I love what these are doing. One's one side, one's the other. And MJ done that on purpose, you know. He didn't sit there and just sit in front of him. He meant to come this side, because now, even though he's looking over the other side of the map, and luckily he doesn't take out Fatness, he takes out the other guy, that was done on purpose, because the Minotauro can only look on one side. So well played for MJ there. But now it is a 2 versus 2. Look at the speed. This is where the speed really does help. They both need to go and get these bases. They have to get these bases, or they have to take out these tanks, because nearly 900 supremacy points. So 1 is going to be there, Fatness is going to B, MJ is going to A, and again, they knew exactly what they have to do. I hate it when it comes down to a 2 versus 2 like this, and nobody goes for the cap. They just ignore the cap. 940 supremacy points. If he doesn't get this kill now, it is going to be game over. But again, look what he's going to do. He's going to just come around, very nice high roll. He can actually take a shot, and Fatness actually has some shots. So he's trying to push him out. He's trying to get him out so Fatness can have the shots as well. But now he is a one shot. He can take a shot if he wants, and he does that. But now he does have to be careful, because he is a one shot and Fatness is Fatness is a 2 shot. But they have to take these bases. Unfortunately, doesn't quite get this base before the Type 71. But if he just waits, if he sits in the cap to stop the points going up as much as he can, just to buy some time for Fatness to get there. And that's exactly what he's doing. Fatness is now there. They can push together. Yes, they are both one shots, but if Fatness gets round that side and now MJ is this side, then they've got one either side. And Fatness goes down the hill, so he doesn't quite have the gun depression, and he manages to get that shot. Now, I don't know what the Type 71 is doing here. He just literally almost just gives up. But overall, it was a very nice win. Well played from these two, MJ and Fatness. Of course, they are pros. They know exactly what they're doing. But this replay really does show what the IS-8 is now capable of doing. 6,200 damage done from MJ there. And then Fatness with the 3,400 damage. So almost 10,000 damage done between them in a tier 10 game. So the IS-8, much loved buff. I love the buff. I think it is fantastic. I don't think the tank is OP. It was a buff, in my opinion, that was needed. And now it has made the tank much, much more enjoyable to play. Let me know your thoughts on the IS-8. What do you think of the IS-8? Hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With